Yeah, I told you, got that signature off that boy Freakazoid. If you look at my JYG predictions, you'll see I was accurate.
I ain't make no predictions, but Kaki about to lose. Freakazoid about to lose. Who about to lose? Judd probably gonna lose that hoe.
It's a shame I didn't predict the rest. Got that signature, got that death note. And Bay over there winning best costume. Come on, man, we in here, we some winners around here. Yeah, that death note is signed. What you thought I wasn't gonna celebrate? I'm gonna definitely celebrate this. This took hard work. A lot harder than I feel I should have had did. Shit, got me working, sweating. That is the result of practice, poise, pressure. What's up, y'all? Welcome to the channel. I am ANTiX the Joker. If you're new to it, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You understand me? Make sure you check out the other videos I've been, the hell is the udder? What is this, a cow? Look, check out them other videos that I've been posting on how to win KRUMP battles. The ones who did watch that video came out winners at this SOV Death Note. Shout out to the text world, my crew, you know what I'm saying? Had a great SOV Death Note night. That night was really epic. I enjoyed the battle. I enjoyed all the talent that was displayed. Overall, especially skill-wise and how serious people took it, and even with the winners and losers, both sides had great sportsmanship. And that's what's dope. That's how we can continue to turn KRUMP battles into a sport. Shout out to Text World, shout out to the SOV Death Note, and of course shout out to Immortal Buck, where we keeping tally of them points. You understand me? Before we get into the topic of this video, of course I want to continue to promote Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Women of age, please make sure to get checked out. Go get checked out, man. It's not a game. Stop playing. Also want to give a shout out to the Boulevard brand. Make sure you cop your hoodies. It's officially cold out, at least in Texas. It took a while for it to get here, but it's finally cold out in Texas. So y'all boys, make sure y'all get that Boulevard brand. Hit him up on his page. I'll leave the link in the description below. Now on to the topic of this video. Why is the mental lab dangerous? I thought it was cool. I thought that's how we win and shit. I thought that's how we advance the craft. Before we get into why this is so dangerous, I kind of want to backtrack a little bit. One reason why I feel like I could speak on this topic is because, now I ain't saying I made it up, but I didn't see it before me. Picture KRUMP came for him like now, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, if you actively on social media, you actively in the KRUMPers group, you can kind of just get a feel of what's going on in a general sense. And you know what people talk about, what people don't, what keywords here and there, you know what I'm saying? Back then in my day, it's the same thing, but mental lab wasn't part of that. You know what I'm saying? That's all I was saying. It's amongst many other things that I've brought into the game that get swept under a rug. But we ain't on that. We ain't on that. We ain't on that. What the ideal mental lab versus what my mindset of the mental lab was is two totally different things. The ideal mental lab is fantasizing, daydreaming. It's picturing yourself in the most livest session, the livest, most concert auditorium. Everyone is circling around you, screaming your name. They pumping you up, they chanting, let's go, so and so. They getting you that energy, you killing, you doing the craziest stuff. You dancing, you doing all this stuff you never thought you could do. You creating in this space. This is how you practice. You're in the matrix. You plugged in. This is now the new safe space, the mental lab. This is where you can do whatever you want to do. This is where you're free. It's a fantasy. It's a pure fantasy. What the mental lab was for me was literally labbing on my mentality, my mindset. I started practicing healthier thoughts, how to respond instead of react, how to keep my poise, how to articulate words, how to analyze situations, how to step back from what I think is real versus what actually is, how to regain peace, how to meditate. That's what the mental lab was for me. It was to practice a better mindset towards life and dance and whatever craft I'm involved in. I'm not fantasizing, I'm meditating, I'm taking a step back, clearing my mind, thinking of ways to improve and then acting on it. That's the biggest part. People get caught up in this, I'm in the mental lab for like a week straight, weeks at a time, months at a time. It's a state of being. When in reality, when I hear that said to me, all I picture is, oh, you're just sitting around daydreaming about KRUMP all the time.
This is what the mental lab sounds like when you say it out loud to me. I'm making videos in my head. Yeah, how's that working out in the real world? I'm battling you in my mind. Yeah, how's that working out when you catch that L? Did you lose in your mind? I'm eating in my mind. Yeah, how's that feel when you die?
So now that I've said my perspective of what a mental lab always was versus what I feel like the general ideal mental lab is, let's talk about how we even got here in the first place. How did this become a thing? Maybe you got here by the fear of criticism. This is where you got away. This was your outlet. This is where you don't get judged. This is where you can be as free as you want to be and nobody could say anything about it. Inside here, you're perfect.
I get it. You know what I'm saying? Why people always think they win because they won inside their mind. Oh, they won in their mind.
Let me tell you something. You gotta let go of that. The mental lab has become an excuse to not lab physically. In order to grow, what you do has to be able to have flaws. If while you're in this mental lab, you're perfect, everything you're doing is A1, why is it called a lab? That's why I said it's called a fantasy. Because you're daydreaming, thinking of all these things, yet you're not applying and putting in the time it takes to develop the muscle memory to actually develop your craft. I'll tell you one thing, I do understand why you got here, why you felt it necessary to be here. The criticism, the judgment, and the politics of the actual KRUMP movement can get real heavy. I know what it's like to want to present your art. You're so passionate about it, and when you let it out to the world, it gets judged, ridiculed, and pulled down, getting made fun of, being brought down in all types of different ways. It doesn't just take one form, and I get how this can become your new safe space. You love KRUMP, you don't want to let it go, but you don't want to put it out there either. Life has its own stresses. Life is hard enough, you know what I'm saying, for some more than others. So for you to come into KRUMP and it be damn near more stressful than life, I understand why you would want to reach any safe zone you can with your craft. But hear me out. That anger, those emotions that you're feeling, that's how KRUMP was created, with the physical action. They took all of these emotions, they took everything that was going on with them, they took all the stuff that life was throwing at them, and it was released with KRUMP. That's how the get off was developed. That's why people understand real get off and real pain, to be able to turn something so ugly and dish it out in this ugly yet beautiful way. I'm not one to degrade anyone's life or level of pain, you know what I'm saying? I think that pain is subjective. People handle it different, people process it differently. Now some stuff is clear cut, but when it comes to people who really go through stuff and don't know how to express it, if this is the category that you fit in, I just want to be able to help you release it thoroughly, authentically, to where it's not backfiring. If you keep bottling all that in, it's gonna destroy you. So you have to find an effective way to release it. And if you choose to do it through KRUMP, you have to do it in the right way. On the last video, when I was talking about poise, which I also want to get to and make a separate video about that, when I say controlling emotions, I don't mean bottling in how you feel. Imagine you got different passageways for your negative energy, for the energy that you have inside, for your emotions. You have to be able to dish them out and distribute that energy correctly, so that way you're releasing in a healthy way. I know that this is important. I know that people still go through stuff in life every single day. I know that people still struggle with articulating thoughts and expressing themselves, especially through KRUMP, because KRUMP is so hardcore. It's changed, but it's still hard. You know what I'm saying? Like it just changed how it hits you. So from somebody who been through the ringer, you know what I'm saying, more than once, I'm telling you at least one way to properly execute your emotions through content. So let me tell you why this idea of mental labbing is dangerous. Because one, you're embracing laziness. If you're just sitting there thinking, what is your body actually doing? What actions are you doing? How are you maintaining and building muscle memory? All that time spent daydreaming and fantasizing, you're losing out on time. You're losing out on real life. You lose your creativity. If you're sitting there thinking of all this amazing stuff, you got one idea, 2, 3, 4. By the time you actually get up, you may have lost 9 out of 10 of those. Even if you don't have time to physically lab, you can write it down and get back to it later and physically lab on that later. And you also lose your opportunity for growth. Your mind might be thinking of new things all the time, but your body's still sitting there. Picture it like working out. You can't get stronger. You can't build your physique up. You can't train your muscles by thinking about it.
On guard, I'ma lift these weights with my mind. That's my mental lab. Okay, bro, so you saying you got telekinesis. This some telekinetic shit. That's what you saying.
I know it's some deep thinkers in here. So if you one of those people, I need you to woosah, and I need you to take what I'm saying for face value. Deep thinkers, come up to surface on this. I understand the power of the mind and willpower and all that. We're gonna direct that into effective work ethic. We all have ideas, but there are graveyards across the world filled with talent and potential. So how would you use this mental lab correctly? You could take my idea of it, which is literally labbing on your mentality, how you respond to things, how to really process and analyze life, how to direct your stress, you know what I'm saying? Meditate, pray. You want to be able to turn your emotions into content, things to focus on per day, certain affirmations I follow per day, you know what I'm saying? Like to be able to get my mind right, to think clearer as I go about my process, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not so easily distracted, so I can maintain my focus. If I'm distracted by a lot, I'm gonna hit the mental lab, like yo, knock off all this dust, all these distractions, get this out of here, you know what I'm saying? Focus, hone in on what you really want to do. Realize what matters and doesn't. You know what I'm saying? I start putting in piles. That's my mental lab. It's to practice on my mentality. Just the same way that I would practice my flaws in my physical sense. You know what I'm saying? If something ain't right, I'm gonna get that, I'm a lab on it and make those bad habits become good habits. Now with KRUMP specifically, it's extremely conceptual. It's very visual. You want to make those things clear. So how you would do that in the lab, if you listening to music, you take moments, certain stuff that you see in your mind, in that instant is when you need to actually lab it out. If you sitting there thinking like, yeah, that would be dope, what if I try this, you know what I'm saying, like, and actually do it, and you start working out the kinks, that's a good lab. That's how you can use the mental lab towards your physical. Faith without work is dead. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to be able to counterpart that mental with the physical. Without that physical action, you're just daydreaming. You're just fantasizing, and it's not real. Even if you paint or draw, if you just think about it, it's not gonna get done until you actually take the pencil or pen or whatever art utensil you use and put it on that canvas. This is why this ideal version of a mental lab is dangerous. It can be addictive because it's so safe in your mind. It's so perfect in there. It's your own little heaven that you created that you become unable to handle reality. When it comes to this dance, when it comes to a craft, you visualize, then attack, especially with KRUMP. You visualize something, you need to be putting that into motion immediately. Especially your body will remember it for you if you do it enough times. You know what I'm saying? Lab on something 3, 4, 5 times, get it down packed. How do you think choreography happens? You know what I'm saying? They practice it over and over and over. You think they do that with a mental lab? I feel like I could go on about this forever. If you have questions, please post them in the comments and let me know of how I can clarify, or if you have a different perspective, let me know. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I'm just right. I just know what works and have worked for me and my perspective behind this whole mental lab in the first place, especially because I feel like I made up this term. Not to the world, I'm just saying, like, for me, I use this word mental lab back in the gap, you know what I'm saying? Because I knew what it was for me. So if you have a different perspective other than what I've been saying, or you just overall, feel free to comment, you know what I'm saying? But if you actually feel like this helped you, let me know that as well. If you're watching this and you're new to it, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I got plenty more to come. There's plenty more to talk about, all right? This one was very important to me. Anything that has to do with the mind, I'm very into. There are ways to properly execute your thoughts and emotions. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up on the video. Make sure you comment on the video. Make sure you share on your personal page. Get this video out, get this information out. A lot of this stuff, especially for the KRUMP community, a lot of information people are starving for. So make sure you get some type of healthy topic out there that we could talk about. And if there's anything that we need to tweak or discuss more of, let it be known. I appreciate y'all for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.